What do you think's happening in Chicago? What's your take on the Caleb Williams story that Seth Wickersham put out yesterday?
Well, talking about the film and nobody studying film with them and all of that stuff. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. First of all, there's so many things in that story that kind of trips me out. Like back in the day, we lived in film rooms, and it was okay to stay in film rooms. It was okay to practice all the time. But now everybody and all of the PAs, they're limiting practice time. Now, I'm sure Caleb's been meeting with coaches during the sessions, like we have sessions, installments, and all of those things. But what I imagine what he's talking about is all of that extra time. He should always be meeting with the coach. He should be living with that offensive coordinator. No matter what he does, those two should be together. And I'm sure that's what he's talking about now that he sees the kind of time he's putting in with Ben Johnson. He's like, wow, this is what it's supposed to be like. Oh, my God. Because everything, the Noah Turners and Troy Aikmans, when I was in college, the Gary Stevenson and Vinny Testaverde, when they walked, the right leg moved at the same time and the left leg moved at the same time. That's how much time they spent together. When you saw them walking together, they were really marching.
Yeah, I just couldn't think about that again without more, couldn't be more flummoxed. Guys have to have so much film review. And to think of the wasted opportunity for a number one pick, somebody that came in that they thought could be effective immediately turning around a program like this, and to leave him on his own. His father, Caleb Williams' father, was quoted as saying, Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die.
Yeah. But listen, any quarterback comes in the league and doesn't go lockstep with his offensive coordinator is going to die. That's his point, period. There's no getting around it. And it's different. I don't have to be lockstep with my coach, even though I was, receivers and DBs, things like that. You can go off and focus and watch film by yourself and get studied by yourself. But the coach and especially the offensive coordinator, who's ever calling the plays, and the quarterback, they have to live together. That's just it. They got to make sure that they have one brain when they are seeing things on the football field, and they got to see it together. So they have to literally live together.
Do you believe that this story will have ramifications moving forward now that we know that his father was so vocal, there were so many concerns? How do you think this will change anything in the National Football League?
Well, Susie, like all of life, we got great people, and we got some people that are not so great at what they're doing. And then we got, since this is a physical sport, but it requires all your emotions, everything, you got all these feelings involved. Some people are better at it than others. And the people that aren't so good at it, you see them bouncing around the NFL, and the people that are great, you see them position themselves in the NFL. It's as much as it is about football, it's about understanding personalities and understanding people and making sure that you're giving them what they need to succeed. If you are an offensive coordinator, especially a young quarterback, this is what's in the league. And then go lockstep with his offensive coordinator is going to die. That's his point, period. There's no getting around it. And it's different. I don't have to be lockstep with my coach, even though I was,
The evolving situation in Chicago surrounding rookie quarterback Caleb Williams has ignited a firestorm of debate throughout the NFL landscape, particularly following a recent report from Seth Wickersham that painted a concerning portrait of the early stages of Williams' development. At the heart of the story lies a question as old as professional football itself. How essential is a quarterback-coordinator relationship to a young passer's success, and what happens when that bond fails to form? In Caleb Williams' case, the stakes could not be higher. Chosen first overall in the 2025 NFL Draft and heralded as a generational talent with rare arm talent and off-script brilliance, Williams was expected to not only lead a franchise, but to resurrect one. Yet, according to the report, there appears to be a disconnect. Specifically, a lack of consistent film study and collaborative development between Williams and the Bears coaching staff. In previous eras, quarterbacks were expected to live in the film room. It wasn't just encouraged, it was demanded. Icons like Troy Aikman and Vinny Testaverde didn't just learn playbooks. They practically synchronized their thoughts and movements with their offensive coordinators. This wasn't an accident. It was a product of relentless hours of preparation, mutual trust, and obsessive attention to detail. The rhythm between Norv Turner and Aikman, for instance, was so exact that they seemed to operate as a single organism. When they walked, their steps mirrored one another. That is the level of cohesion and synchronicity that builds championship offenses. Yet the modern NFL has changed. Collective bargaining agreements and player safety initiatives have reduced practice time. The culture around preparation has shifted. There is a growing sense that the intensity of off-season and in-season development has softened. Despite these constraints, a franchise quarterback, particularly a rookie, is still expected to forge a bond with a play caller that is deeper than any other in the organization. It is a non-negotiable in today's game. It is the most critical relationship on the football field. And if reports are accurate, the Bears may be falling short of that standard. When an offensive coordinator and quarterback are not in lockstep, the results are often catastrophic. The field becomes a blur of miscommunication. Reads become slower. Timing dissolves. And for a player like Williams, whose game is built on creativity and quick processing, that lack of shared vision can be crippling. This is not just about film sessions. It's about culture, commitment, and whether the franchise truly understands what it means to develop a quarterback. Williams' father, a vocal figure throughout his son's journey to the NFL, made headlines himself with a brutally honest statement. Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die. It's not hyperbole, without precedent. Historically, the Bears have struggled to find and nurture elite quarterback talent. From Cade McNown to Mitchell Trubisky, the list of failed experiments is long, and the scars run deep. Caleb Williams was supposed to change that narrative. But if early signs are any indication, the ghosts of the past may still haunt Hallis Hall. The implication of this unfolding story goes far beyond Chicago. It's a cautionary tale for the entire NFL. Teams invest tens of millions of dollars in mortgage draft capital to acquire a potential franchise quarterback. But the transaction itself is just the beginning. Success hinges on what comes after: the mentorship, the systems, the relationships. In this sport, talent alone is never enough. Quarterbacks must be nurtured, shaped, and mentally embedded into the architecture of the offense. Anything less is organizational malpractice. There is no question that Williams is a transcendent prospect. His ability to improvise, extend plays, and throw from all platforms makes him uniquely dangerous. But if he is left on an island without the constant guidance and philosophical partnership of his offensive coordinator, then the potential remains just that, potential. The great ones never did alone. Peyton Manning and Tom Moore, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor. The blueprint is clear. Looking ahead, the fallout from this report could reverberate throughout league front offices. It forces teams to reflect on how they onboard and support young quarterbacks. It demands that franchises examine their developmental infrastructure. Are coaches truly investing in their players? Are systems being built to elevate rather than constrain? These are the questions that will shape the next era of NFL quarterback play. Ultimately, football remains as much about people as it is about schemes. The best organizations understand this. They don't just draft players, they build relationships. And for Caleb Williams to fulfill the promise of his prodigious talent, the Bears must evolve. They must foster a culture of obsessive preparation and trust. They must break the cycle that has plagued the position in Chicago for decades. Because if they fail to do so, it won't just be a missed opportunity. It will be another chapter in a tragic pattern that has already claimed too many careers.